Okay.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
It is. It's Cinco de
May
Mayo.
5th, and it's a Cinco de Mayo. La cucaracha, la la
You
la
have
la
your
la.
Mexican beer already?
Oh, well, no, not yet.
I had tequila here, but I think I took it back
Not
downstairs.
yet. But at our apartment complex, they're having a Cinco de Mayo festival where they're going to have food and festivities. And so we're like, yeah, nice. We're very excited. We're going to have free dinner. Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah.
Hardly wait.
I don't think I've gone to parties on this in years.
Long time.
I don't think I'm going to anything party-wise tonight, I'll tell you that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I'll party for you, dude.
You do that.
I'll party for the both of us.
Apparently, I'm an old man now.
Oh, yaw.
Yeah.
You're only as old as you feel, sir. And I bet you
old.
feel old today.
I'm old today.
Feel old today.
Yeah.
That was like last week. I fell out of the tub. Nothing makes you feel older than falling out of a tub. Yes. And hitting your back on the back end of the lip of the tub and walking around like you're 90 years old. Oh, honey. Oh.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh, my Lord.
That is a trademark of, you gotta stand. That's a trademark line. Did you know that?
Yes. I've fallen and I can't.
We should talk about some week. We should talk about trademarks in your business because, oh my gosh, you know how much shit is trademarked out there that you can't say?
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of stuff that's not
Super Bowl is trademarked.
But there's also a lot of stuff not trademarked that people are taking that somebody thought, oh, this is mine.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Got to trademark your stuff.
Trademark, you're an idiot and nobody wants to hear about it.
I already trademarked that. Sorry. My favorite is idiots, surrounded by idiots.
Well, we could go into all kinds of like movie lines. By the way, some of my friends were last night at they were in San Diego for, it looks like the launch party for Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, that's right. That's coming out.
Yeah. 3 years later, it's coming out. You'll remember the premiere for that came in San Diego.
That's right.
May of 2019.
Well,
and it was supposed to come out in the fall of 2019, but they pushed it back to June of 2020. But then we had a pandemic and they pushed it off to 2021 and they pushed it off finally to 2022. Like, the actors are going to show up to the screen party, and they're going to have gray hair now. We recorded this thing, back in the 1920s.
I was 23 when we did this.
23 when we recorded that. We're finally launching it.
I'm so excited for this to come out. I hope Forrest's coming soon. I'm ready.
Wait. Can you imagine them making a movie and then going, no, we're not going to release this, all right? And then 50 years later, some guy finds it and goes, why didn't we release this?
Yep.
So they release it and everybody's going, who's that actor?
I don't know him.
I don't know that guy.
I don't know him.
Because there's the one guy into it that was like, that was his only movie. He never did. And he died. Yeah.
Or the ones where you look up the cast of an old show, an old series, to see where they are now. And that was like their only series. So they're not doing anything after that.
Yeah.
It was like a one-time shot kind of thing.
Well, no, I was looking up the other day. All right. I do this when I watch TV shows or movies that I think that, I find interesting storylines between the cast. I go look up the cast. I mean, I go look at the movie, I go look at the cast, go look at the show, things like that. If I think that a certain cast member was in two different, like I remember them from show, blah, 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 I'll go look it up to see if I was right.
I will do the same thing.
Yeah. And like, that's like my go-to thing when I'm doing, when I'm watching a movie. I got my laptop is almost always sitting on the couch next to me. when I'm downstairs. I take it down with me, and that's what I end up doing, is looking at it from down there to see what will go on.
I'm always looking on my phone.
I'm not a guy to Google stuff on my phone. The other day, somebody said, Google that. I'm on my phone. I'm like, hold on. I'm doing that technology advanced yet.
Well, the funniest thing is, for the longest time, you would type things in until, and techie person here, you can talk into it and it'll understand it. It's a lot easier than trying to type it in. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot.
So that electronic device connected to Amazon, all right, sent me a notification about, hey, we noticed you're shopping, blah, 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 blah. And I just said her name and said, shut up. And actually yesterday, and she said, I'm sorry. I, from now on, will only, I'm like, that's my way to tell her, shut up.
Shut up. Just be quiet. Don't want to hear it. Just don't want to hear it.
You think that programming in that thing has gotten a reception to the people who are just sick of you? It's why I like the one on Apple, which is Siri, and I have Apple products, because Siri, I ask a question and it gives me a straight answer. The one related to Amazon gives me a paragraph and a story and the backstory. Yeah. All right. And the time of day.
She likes to talk. Yeah. She's the talker.
If I wanted that much information, I'd ask my wife.
Yep. Yep.
I'm going to get in trouble for that statement.
Yep. And you were talking about another topic we would have gotten in trouble with. Oh, boy. Needless to say. So, today.
What you got for today?
Today, we're going to, this is a topic that is kind of close to my heart, because I was in corporate for 30 years. And
You're not in corporate anymore?
No, not anymore. Not anymore. Oh. Thank God. Thank God.
You were a corporation. Here, I thought you were just independently wealthy, and you did this as like a side gig to, have fun.
I won the lotto.
I thought you owned the corporation. That's why you got to hang around at home now.
I wish, but this is something. I mean, for the longest time, and I think we talked about this on the show, I had read a book long ago, and I still to this day can't find the freaking book that I read, but it was something I got from the library, and it talked about the model of business and the future of business. Mm-hmm. And in this book, which was literally 30, 40 years ago, talked about how business is going to be changing in the future to the extent that there's only going to be about maybe 12 people that are actually going to be employed by a corporate entity. The rest of them will be all contractors. And so we're kind of sort of moving to that, but not quite yet. But this whole pandemic thing really pushed us into a realm that a lot of businesses really pushed back on. A lot of people were asking, can I work from home? It would be so much easier if I've got kids or blah, blah, blah. And they always said, nope, won't work. Nope, won't work. Nope, not going to do it. Pandemic hit and they were forced to do it. And what they're finding now is that these individuals that they thought would probably goof off at home and not do the work are actually more productive than they are in the office.
Really?
And so why they're finding that is because, think about it, if you work in corporate and you're in an office, you're constantly getting interruptions, phone calls, people stopping by. Hey, can you do this or can you do that? Oh, we got this meeting in a couple of minutes, and then there's another meeting, and then there's another meeting, and it's constant interruption. So even though you're working a 10 or maybe even 15-hour day, you're getting maybe 4 to 5 hours work done, maybe. So they were finding that people working from home are they're more concentrated on what they need to do. Mm-hmm. They're happier because they're in their own environment. They get more accomplished, and they end up, believe it or not, working longer hours. Now, that's not the intent, but they end up working longer hours than what they work in. Oh, look at that. You got the matter.
I was able to fix it on the fly.
You got the matter. Woohoo! But this is something that's been a contentious argument, especially with management.
You know why?
Well, a lot of people with management feel if they cannot see the employee working or staff, then they're not working.
Yeah, it's in my mind, it's a control issue. And truthfully, if I own the company as a company owner, this is how I've designed my company, right?
Yeah.
And like my mom and I were talking about this morning, and people saying, well, how dare they? Well, I think we were talking about it more in the line of being paid benefits to not come into work because we don't feel safe yet. All right. As opposed to like, well, we're paying you to work from home. No, we don't feel safe to come in. So like, can we still get paid, not work type crowd? And which is not the people you and I are associated. You and I associate with the people who they work no matter where they're at. They're workers.
Yes.
But the idea behind it is there a much more larger group of people who will go, well, I don't want to come into work anymore. I just want to stay at home and get paid now. Right. And they're going, we don't need to give them more benefits to stay separate. We need to get them back into the office because they're like, you want a job? You're going to do it. This is the job. You don't want to do the job? Go do it somewhere else. And I know that, you've seen it and we've seen it a lot where people are coming into the idea of, yeah, but they're much more productive, blah, blah, blah. And there's a whole story behind, yes, but there's a group of people who are not.
I agree with that. And the other caveat on that too is that a lot of people took a look at their lives at that point, especially those that are getting close to retirement, and thought to themselves, why am I working so hard for a company that doesn't even give a shit about me? Yeah. So, if I can retire.
Yeah, but if you're into your 50s and you're just now figuring that out, all right, some of us figured it out in our 30s.
A long time ago.
Dude.
Yes. But here's the thing that's causing a lot of problems right now for businesses is that, and I'm part of that community, is the baby boomers. We're the ones that still like to work. We're the ones that still like to do things, but we're also realizing too, I don't want to be like my mom or my dad who's like, doesn't retire until they're like 85. They've got a couple good years and then they're done. Yeah. We want to enjoy that. So we're seeing that opportunity, and a lot of baby boomers have taken on these other businesses and realizing, hey, I can make this amount of money. That's all I need to make. I can take Social Security and set. I can retire. So a lot of that group, which is the majority of workers that people didn't realize.
It's the majority to get the work done. Let's get the phrasing right.
The majority of workers that still have that work ethic of, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to get paid, so I'm doing my job.
They will.
Majority of those workers
do it no matter where they are. They're going to do it.
Yes, but they're retiring. Yeah. So because they're retiring, there's a huge, huge gap of help right now that companies are having a really hard time filling. Now, I'm not bashing the young, and I'm not bashing any particular, generation, but the younger generation coming up, and we've had this discussion, is they're expecting things as instantaneously as what's on their phone. So when they start a job, they're like, okay, I've been here 6 months. Where's my raise?
Yeah.
I've been here a year. I'm ready to move up to management now. And as we know, it takes time, and you have to put in your time in order to do that. But they're used to that instantaneousness.
And this is the same generation that now is coming in going, well, I have all this college debt because I went and got a master's degree. All right. And my master's degree is in, the art of the clouds passing me by. And I should be able to get a management job now. Like, dude, it doesn't work that way. All right. Yeah. Most of us who went that far in education paid for our education far into our 40s.
Yep. Yep. And here's the thing too, is a lot of times you've got a younger generation, and this is part of the reason why a lot of baby boomers I've read have been quitting and retiring too, is they're kind of tired of having to train these young folks coming on board with an attitude of, okay, old man or old lady, I'll learn it for a few days and blah, blah, blah. And the problem with them too is that they're only here to stay for a short amount of time. They've seen their parents put in all this time in a company, and then the company lays them off. So now they're there 2, maybe 3 years, and then they're gone.
Yeah. Here's a great point Mike brought up. All right. It will continue to plague them until, number one, have the paycheck and rug jerked out from underneath them.
Underneath them, yep.
Boy, that wakes you up real freaking fast, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Or they choose to do something different. All right. So you wake up one day and go, you know what? I don't have to do this. I'm going to go find another way.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, that is not the easy way. From someone who's been an entrepreneur his whole life, that's not the easy way. And I went through near bankruptcy several times, but I get it. But having that rug, that paycheck pulled out from underneath, a great point there, Mike, is that's some way to wake up the people who are going, well, I want it. And I remember I had a job that I thought that when I was younger, I thought I was entitled to that paycheck.
Yeah.
All right. Until one day I came into the office and they realized, you know what? We think we can run this department without you now.
It's like, what?
Yeah. And
you can't,
Yeah, because all I was doing, I was coming in for the paycheck. I wasn't coming in for the passion of the job. All right. Yeah. So I felt entitled to that paycheck. Right?
Well, and here's an interesting story too. When I was a teenager, my mom taught me work ethics. And I remember I was working at a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And as we know, when it comes to retail, you don't get money unless you've got customers. No customers, no money.
Yeah.
And so she had a couple customers come in and she was really bitchy too. And I said, what are you doing? She said, well, he pissed me off. I said, who do you think pays your freaking check? My manager. Where do you think the money comes from? My manager? So you think he has all this magic money to put on your check to hand it to you to be mean to the customers? Yeah. No customers, no check. So, and I think that's the biggest thing that companies are having a hard time with right now is customer service. People are in customer service, don't give a rat's ass.
Wait a minute. You come to a company when you're a young kid. What's usually the first job you get to work your way up the ladder?
Oh, it's like the receptionist. You're the front desk.
Customer service. It's a customer service related position. And always it's the crappy person who's like, I hate my job because, minimum wage is $15 an hour and I'm only making $9.25 and I need more money.
Yep. This is crap.
Attitude instead of, I actually used to tell people this when they came to me for counseling on quitting a job. I used to say, do yourself a favor before you do. Try to improve, spend 6 months and try to improve the position you're in with the powers you have. And then, all right, decide if it's time. And almost every time they did that, they came back and went, no, I'm not looking for another job. I'm staying here. Why? Because you created your better environment.
Exactly.
I had dinner with a lady this week. Her and I, we probably get together about once every 8-9 months, and we just have dinner and talk. And she is the people who draw blood at a doctor's office.
Oh, yeah. I forget what they call them.
Like phlebotomist or something like that.
Phlebotomist, yes.
Yeah. She's in that. I mean, her company does something around that, but her name's Lauren. All right. And she did this whole thing with a lot of them that she worked with when she was in training. And it was all about the attitude of the job. Right. And what I'm saying here is not dirty, but this idea, all right, is something that is it's a Glenn Morshower type thing when you hear it, is she taught all the girls. She said, you know what? You're wearing this uniform that everybody else is wearing. Underneath it, wear matching bra and panties. No one knows. No one but you. But it gives you a sense of I'm dressed up underneath.
Yeah.
And it raises your attitude. And she said it's all about the attitude of the job. Because let's face it, it's not the best job in the world, but those people who do it love it. And those people who do something, and you remember the Glenn Morshower thing, all right, of the food in different parts of his body. That's all.
Yeah, like pancakes.
Secretly, you have a smile on your face, and you know why, but they don't. Right?
They don't.
And that spawns your attitude of like, I want to do this better. Right.
Yep.
And I think too often these young kids, they've not found that trick to how do I make this better? And I change my environment. I change my attitude. And all we are out there selling right now is like, well, you need a better mindset. You need to have a better attitude. No, you need to find a secret inside of you that brings you to life.
Well, and my mom a long time ago, she told me that was a very important thing. She said, every company that you work for, you make sure that you are an asset, not a liability.
Exactly.
And that means an asset is you learn every single thing about that company, every position. So that way, if somebody needs you to fill in, you can do it. And then they're going to look at you, and you're going to be that valuable player that if once you leave, because they realize how many jobs you've done over the years, because you've learned all of them, they're going to be going, wait, no. How much can we offer you to stay? Because we really rely on you.
Yeah.
That's the key, is that you become that employee or that worker, whatever the case is, that everybody not only relies on, but realizes your value. That's what you're bringing to the table, is your value. And if you're not valuing that position or what you have to offer, you're always going to be looked upon as, well, next.
Yeah.
Let's get the next one in. Next.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing they don't realize too is that they jump from job to job to job, and now they're going to get to that point where they're at the 10th job, and they're going to look at their resume and go, why were you only here for a year? And why were you only here for 2 years? And why did you jump around to 10 different jobs? Now you're telling them, I can't rely on you to be here any longer than 2 years. I'm not going to invest my time and effort into you if you're going to be gone in 2 years. No, next.
Not realizing, yep. Exactly.
Nope.
No.
And that's the
someone caught
problem.
up on that Facebook user. I wish you'd actually tell us who you are, so I don't know who you are. Tell me who you are. But no, you like that one. How can you uplift yourself is important. How can you uplift yourself? Let's sidetrack on this a little bit. Katrina, you work in your office by yourself. So do I. What do you do to uplift yourself?
I listen to music.
Okay.
I listen to music that gets me in the mood and gets me and puts my mindset into where I need to be, so that I'm in the creative juices, so to speak.
Yeah. I have the mood lighting in. That's why I have all this freaking lighting, because I think it looks cool and I feel cool working here. Right.
Yeah.
But one of the things I did was on the other side of this, I have a chair that's my relaxed chair, and I have an ottoman that goes with it. Well, I just put the ottoman underneath the desk. So like, I'm sitting here with my legs stretched out right now.
Yay.
I'm like cool and feeling all right. But my other podcast that I do it from a standing position. That's something to keep my attitude up when I'm in it, because I got to keep myself on my feet interviewing people.
Yeah.
And that's how I uplift myself. So.
Well, and I think, and that's the important part when you're going, it's just, and going back to the model of where I know a lot of businesses said people can work from home and that'll work out, no problem. And now they're reneging, because a lot of them said that's going to be permanent, so don't worry about it. Or they're doing a hybrid.
Yeah.
But now they're coming back and reneging and saying, no, we've decided we want you in the office now. And you can only be home from like 1 day a week. And originally they were told 3 days a week they could work from home, and then they only had to be in the office 2 days a week. But here's the thing. This also gave the freedom for people to realize too, I don't have to live, let's say, in California and pay these high freaking costs and drive for an hour to 2 hours to the job, and then back home and spending like 4 to 5 hours on the road, spending all the gas, spending all that time away from my family. Now I get to work from home. It's more enjoyable. I'm going to get more done. But they're starting to renege on that. So now they're losing a lot of key talent that are saying, you know what, this company over here, it's cheaper for me to live there. They're willing to work this out. So bye-bye. We'll see you.
That's the price of business.
Yep.
All right. Until that company, until possibly that company goes away and eliminates the job.
Well, and here's the statistic that I wrote down. I thought it was quite interesting. The report predicted that out of 36.2 million workers, 22% of Americans will be working remotely by 2025, which is an 87% increase from the pre-pandemic levels. So in other words, a lot of companies are working towards that. And if you think about it, they're saving money. They don't have to pay for the building. They don't have to pay for the electricity. They don't have to pay for liability insurance, because guess what? You're not in the office. So if something happens, you're at home. They don't have to worry about it. And a lot of them, like I said at the beginning, are starting to go with contractors as opposed to employees, because now they're saving between 17 to 30% off the top because they're not paying for your benefits, they're not paying for your taxes, they're not paying for any insurance on you whatsoever. They don't have to pay for your equipment, they don't have to pay for your training. You pay for it all.
But yeah, until we get like, I don't remember the outcome of it. You lived in California, I think, when the outcome came out of what they were going to do with the Uber drivers being independent contractors versus employees.
Yeah.
Because then you get the independent contractors going, well, wait a minute. I can't get insurance. It cost me twice as much to get insurance, which Obamacare, that was supposed to solve that problem.
I agree.
But there was a backside to trying to solve that problem that backfired, and that happens.
I agree.
When we try to move forward in a plan, it backfires, but that becomes the issue. And then people come in, well, I want to demand this. They want to have everything both ways, and it doesn't always work out that way.
No, but here's the
people who are white collar working in offices.
Yeah.
Imagine the guy who's assembling the shipping line. He can't assemble that shipping line from home. He's got to go into the warehouse.
I agree. There are some jobs you can't do from home. They're just at this point, they haven't found a way for them to do it from home. And I get that. But those jobs that you can do from home, and even if you're a vendor or a contractor, the thing is you can charge between 75 to 80% more than what you were making. And now you can, by the time you pay for your insurance and everything else, it evens out to what you were making when you were first working, and sometimes higher, depending
sometimes on. Yes, sometimes no.
Sometimes
let's be honest. All right. Because I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. Be honest.
Yeah, sometimes yes, not always.
No.
All
right. And I've had jobs that I thought were, oh man, this is going to be a great contracting job. And then by the time I pulled all my expenses out,
it was like, wait,
things that would have came with the job, I would have been better off taking the job at an hourly rate.
But I think things are going to start to turn and shift, because I think they're realizing with this pandemic, it would be easier as a whole if people were working from home, because it wouldn't be so hard to say, well, we're going to have to shut down again, which I don't think is going to happen. But there might be some things where they can say, okay, you can start working from home on a regular basis now because of whatever the case may be. But like you said, there are some people that don't want to work because they don't feel safe going back into work because of things that are going on, or not necessarily just the variants of COVID. They might not feel safe because, there are people going into the job and shooting people, or they're having, you just don't know what you're going to get. And granted, that's something that's part of life. But in business, like you said, if you're the one who owns that business and you're running that business, then, you have to abide by what they set as the standards. But as a business owner, you also have to realize too that you have to adapt. And if you don't adapt, you may not be in business anymore, or you may not be able to get the employees that you really, truly need to do the job because you're not adapting to the times and what's going on. So it goes both ways. But I think this whole COVID thing taught us a lot, especially with business, that it is feasible, it is doable. And yes, there are some people out there that can't police themselves very well, and so they don't get a lot done. But knowing that up front, if that's what you know about that person, then that person has to be in the office until they can prove otherwise.
Yeah.
Or you let that person go and find somebody who can work from home if that's your model.
That's it. All right. And the flip side is the corporations, when we can't sit and make all the employees put the demands on the corporations. Pretty soon the company, will go out of business because you have people who don't know how to run a business trying to tell you how to run a business.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally
all right.
agree.
So that's one of the reasons why I can like it or dislike it. I can hate the fact that my employer says that, but the reason they own the company, they figured out how to be successful at this. And I only can afford to get a job for them because I haven't figured out how to be successful at it.
Yeah.
So before I try to tell them how to run their company,
maybe I should figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that we should all, I think personally, as a whole, we should all learn how to run a company, and it would give us a better idea of where the business is coming from. So that now we can understand.
Another problem is we're too busy training people to be employees and follow the line. You know what I mean?
I know. And that's another That's a whole other entity. I mean, there are businesses out there that I worked for that just refuse to change. And there's still businesses out there that refuse to change that now are no longer around.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and that's, like we said, that's part of business is you've got to adapt. You
Yeah.
have to adapt to the times. You have to adapt to whatever's out there. But I think it's an important piece as business owners as well as entrepreneurs. And I truly feel that eventually it's going to get to that point where now insurance is going to be more affordable because you're going to realize that, well, it's going to cost us more not to insure this person than it is to insure this person. So it would behoove us not to, make the rates so that everybody can afford this. And of course, it depends on the state you're in. Even if you're doing state insurance, it's all different cost. It's not the same cost for everybody, even with Obamacare. And they call it now state insurance or something of that nature.
It's called now, yeah. But
it's a different cost in different states. It's not the same in saying, okay, you live in Maryland, it's going to be this cost for you, in California. And no, they base it on the area. So if you're living in California, your price may be this much, where if you're living in Maryland, it may be this much. So,
and I remember when that first came out, and the first things of that was like the idea behind it was they were wanting everybody to go get insurance. If everybody had insurance, that takes the level, you know what I mean? Because you need good people and bad people to level it out.
Yeah.
What it was so many people were like, wait a minute, the penalty is cheaper I'll pay the penalty rather than get the insurance. And all the healthy people did that. Well, that really threw, and they said that would happen. That really threw the cost off, because you need a bunch of healthy people to have a bunch of sick people in. So basically all the people who were jumping in to get the insurance were all the sick people.
Yeah.
And thinking they're going to get a discount. Well, no, you just gave the option to the healthy people who are going, well, and I was one of those. I have epilepsy and I have a medication I take. And at the time it was like my medication and my doctor's visit was like $600 a year. I'm like, I'll pay that out of my pocket. That's cheap.
Yeah.
As opposed to $200 a month for insurance.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me, right?
No.
And that's what we went to, and that's where we flip on the insurance game, and that's where we flip on almost anything in business. Is we're trying to do things, all right, to make everybody fit in. The problem is we live in a free country, and everybody doesn't fit in.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. That was like when I worked at Amgen, and they were starting to, when we knew things were starting to move in a different direction, and they gave the opportunity to people to retire that had been with the company for a certain amount of time, and they were going to give them the big check and so on and so forth. They didn't expect that many people to take advantage of it. So they actually had to ask several people, can you stay a little longer and we'll give you a little extra if you do? Because they didn't realize how many people were going to say, okay, I'm out of here. See ya.
Yeah. Well, let's flip the you know what I mean, the people leaving, you know what I mean, on a whole nother thing is how often we sit and plan our future based on what's told us to retire.
Yeah.
And then we get retirement and realize, because of inflation. I mean, we got a massive inflation problem going on right now, but inflation, and they realize, well, that $50,000 a year I set apart is only going to give me this much now, right? Yeah. Not realizing that, the cost of goods when I retire is going to be like probably 15 times more than it is right now. Right.
Well, now's a hard time to make that. We're in different times now.
That's not a continual thing, because the cost of a living is always more expensive. If you started planning it 40 years ago, right? 1980, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm planning my retirement, and you stuck with that plan all the way through 40 years later, and then you go, oh, crap. The plan I had was to retire on 1982 salary. 1982 salary. All right. Isn't going to get you McDonald's nowadays.
No, it's back to Walmart. Hi, welcome to Walmart. Yeah. How can I help you? And but like I said, those that are retiring that are part of the baby boomers were smart in the respect that they were looking at these things. So now they've made investments, or they've done all these other things to make sure that, just like myself, my husband and I bought a house in New Mexico that we're having built. And with that house, we paid for the majority of it when we sold our house in California. So our house payment, once it's done, is going to be less than what we're paying in our apartment right now. And the way we've always done things is the intent that only one person, even though we've got two incomes, we'd always base things on one income, only one income, just in case. And that's hard for a lot of people to do now because one income doesn't go far enough.
No.
And trying to buy a house now, it's not easy. So it's kind of a hard dynamic for especially people that are just starting out and they want to get a house for the first time. We've had this discussion too, that it's difficult because there are so many corporations out there that are buying these houses up, fixing them up, and then renting them. And now those homes that they could have afforded and possibly fixed up are gone. Or they can't get them because they don't have enough cash on them to say, okay, I'll bid you this. And homeowners, I mean, let's face it, they're looking at the money and going, wait, okay, so this guy's going to offer me cash and I don't have to fix it up and I don't have to put any money into it? Okay, I'll take it. I'm out of here. But in that respect, we're kind of hurting those people that have never bought a house before and they're trying to start that investment. Mm-hmm. And as we know, supply and demand, there's very low supply, but there's a huge demand right now. And this has been going on, I've looked at in regards to history-wise, this has been going on for a long time, that there haven't been enough supply for the demand, and it's been getting slower and slower. And people didn't realize it until we got to this point. We're like, yeah, we still don't have that supply yet. We're working on it, but we're not quite there yet. Mm-hmm. And it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. So
yeah,
this is an interesting subject, and a lot of people are going to, they're going to have opinions on this subject because of the fact that we've got a workforce now that wants they want to get their own way.
Yeah.
Right? And you and I know the world we grew up in when we first started the job, you didn't get your own way at first.
Nope.
All right. And I think, well, I can't enforce this. I think we need more of a people. We need more people who need to understand. I need to pay my dues.
Yeah.
We have lost the concept of paying your dues to be successful.
Yeah.
Because there's too many. And the reason why is there's too many companies out there who said, yeah, you got to pay your dues. All right. And the people retired paying their dues. All right.
Because it's a different work ethic.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to the work ethic. All right. Is you want to be successful. You've got to beat the next guy.
Yep.
You want to be successful in a small company. You better be better than you were last year. You can't show up this year with the effort you put in last year.
Nope.
It's got to be better. And if you don't, there's going to be somebody else who come along and do it. And I think that competitiveness, all right, once we get through this, whatever this headache is that we got with the pandemic developed, once we get through that and we get the competitiveness back in America again, I think you'll see the younger generation start jumping. All right, going, oh wait,
I'm gonna get left behind.
Yeah, my coworkers aren't willing to drive into the office. I'll drive into the office if I can get an extra $20,000-$40,000 a year.
Yeah.
All right, and now you'll start watching companies go, well, Charlie, we'll give you that promotion to run the division. All right, as opposed to the 20 people who are like, I want to stay at home.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. And then they'll be like, wait a minute, why did Charlie get a raise? Because Charlie was willing to do what you weren't willing to do.
Yeah.
And I remember, when I went to work for Starbucks, and this was like, I'm in my 40s. I'm kind of semi-retired, working a part-time job, living off of investments at the time. And I'm going into, for a 4-hour shift, I'm there for 6 hours. And the guy the guys who I was rooming with at the time, when I came home one day and I said, well, they're asking me to go into management. And he says, it doesn't surprise me. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, you're somebody who's willing to do more than what you're paid for. Eventually you'll be paid more than what you do, than for what you do. And that's just a fact that most of our younger generation does not understand. Yeah. And that equation will come back in, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Once the hard workers are gone, these baby boomers who are going, hey, that's it, I quit.
Bye-bye.
Once they're gone, and Now the burden on the department comes down to the 20 people who said, well, I'm not going to do it. Let's let that one guy over there who's going to work all the time. Let's let him do it. And now he's gone and the whole department gets gone and you got no job. And you're like, well, crap, I guess I better get up and do the work.
Yep. And it's hurting a lot of companies right now. And in fact, they're even going back to these people and asking them, listen, if you come back as a consultant, we'll pay you this much money and you can manage da 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 da. They're asking them to come back and they're paying them top dollar to do it because they realize what they lost with that retirement and what they're currently getting is not what they need. So,
well, it's interesting you say this. I actually was at a luncheon last week, and was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I was at a luncheon, and the gentleman at it is runs one of the large networking companies here, and him and his wife here in Dallas, and he was talking about their podcasting group. And he was telling me about how the guy he hired to run the podcast group, which when he hired that guy, he reached out to me and said, hey, do you know somebody who I can have run this position? Well, he said that person's since gone, and he has like a part-timer picking up the slack here and there, but he's just not getting the job done. I said to him, why don't you just get a consultant to come in and train this guy to do what you need to do instead of hiring? Because this guy's who's doing half-ass jobs going, well, I'm just going to do a half-ass job, and hopefully they'll give me his job. Not realizing that they'll go pay a consultant more money rather than give you the raise, because the consultant will come in and do the work they need done in half the time. As opposed to you who were like, well, I'm going to do half-ass until they give me the job. And he said, and I said, I'd hire the consultant and train the guy to do it the way you want him to do it. And sooner or later, the guy's going to realize that, sooner or later, the guy will either realize, or number two, you're going to train him to do the job at half the price and you save money either way.
Yep. I agree. I agree. I mean, the area we're moving into, most of the folks there are retired for the most part or semi-retired.
Yeah.
And every neighbor I've met so far, for the most part, have said, yeah, I kind of retired from my company, but then they talked me back into coming in and consulting. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are saying that for a lot higher. So I figured, okay, I'll do it for a couple of years and then maybe I'll retire. But hey, it's easy money, so why not?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going on, and I hate to say it because I love our young and they're our future, but they've got to learn that if they don't do what they need to do and put the foot to the metal and really work on their work ethics, they're not going to have that job. They're not going to get ahead. And then they're going to be sitting there going, why? I've done this, I've done that. Why don't they see my potential? So, and I've got nieces and nephews that are in that position where they've been for a year and they're like, so I went into my boss and I asked him for a raise. Okay. How much of a raise? Well, I've been there a year, so I asked for like $10 extra an hour.
No.
Okay. And have you proven yourself that you're going to get that $10 an hour? I don't know, but he's thinking about it. And then next thing you know,
you've been replaced.
Somebody I can work for because I just got fired today.
Yeah.
It's like,
I remember one job that I went in one time and I knew I was underpaid for the job. All right. And rather than sit there and demand my things, I actually went in and just did the job. I did the job the best I could. All right. And I put a full force effort in. And I remember at the end of year one, for him, the boss, laying down the numbers of how much I improved my department and saying to me, okay, I need to give you more money. And it was like this was like, at the time, it was huge because it was like a $10,000 a year raise. And at that time, I think I was making 30 and I got a raise to $40,000, right? That's a lot of freaking money. That's 1/4 of my salary being added.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. All right. And that's a 20, most people are like, well, today they're like $10,000. That's nothing. Well, yeah, $10,000 will get you a meal at McDonald's nowadays. But anyway.
Maybe a burger. Yeah. Don't you remember the commercials where you can get a meal for $1? You can't even get a freaking drink for $1.
No, you can. They offer you now. No. McDonald's offers you now $1 any size drink you want, and they always ask me, "You sure you want the small? Because you can get the large for the same price." And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not going to drink that much of a soft drink. I'm only going to
Yeah.
drink a little bit. And I have
I'm
to
good.
even fill up the small cup.
Yeah. Don't you want to large it? We can get you a
No.
large fry and it's no more. It's like, no, I'm good.
Well, I don't mind the large fry because I will eat the fries, but the cup,
The
'cause you get
drink,
three
not so
refills,
much.
I don't want that large of a cup. I'll take the small cup. Maybe I'll refill it once, if that. Half the time I don't,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
because I'm not going to drink that much of a soft drink. Anyway.
I mean, this is a topic that, you know, it's one of those things we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I don't know. We'll see as the future goes forward. I mean, I never thought at this point, after reading that book years and years ago, that we'd even see the day that people are working from home more so than working in the office. And now we're looking at that. So you never know. I mean, I remember when my grandma would tell me, oh, they're not going to get a man on the moon. There's no way. And then she sat there with her mouth wide open. Holy shit, they put a man on the moon.
Yeah.
What do you know? So, you know, at this point in my life, I don't question that, you know, maybe if it's going to happen, great, let's see it. I don't say, no, that'll never happen. I don't say that anymore. 9 times out of 10, it happens, and you're like, wow, they did it. Okay. Just like talking about, wow, they did it.
Wait. Yeah,
I was reading this, and I'm like, wow, I got to reread this. Believe it or not, there is a company that's a California-based company that is working on its first space hotel. They started this in 2019, and they've been going back and forth, and they're actually in the process of building it and working on it. And their goal is to have this done by 2025 for 400 people. It's going to be enough rooms for like 400 people. And they plan to open it in 2027, which is not that far away. And they already have the transportation to get there because, as we know, Musk, Branson, and the guy who owns Bezos, they all had the transportation to get there now. And they also stated that their goal is it's not going to be just for the elite with a lot of money. Although I have a feeling it'll probably start that way to see how it goes. And if that's the case, that's okay. They can work out the case.
I'm curious, is the name Floston Paradise?
Oh my God. I was like, I never thought this would happen, and here we are. And they said it's like a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, will Ruby Rod be doing his radio show from there?
I know. Is it like a space cruise, like Fifth Element? We're going on our space cruise? I mean,
Dallas.
I thought when I was reading this, I'm like, I have to reread this. This is crazy. But
and the first person who gets to stay there wins the Gemini croquette contest.
Yeah.
It'll be announced on the Ruby Rod radio show.
Well, the thing is with these rooms that they were showing, they're little they're pod rooms with this whole big window to look out to space. Mm-hmm. That's all dark with stars and galaxies. But you know, the first thing that came to my mind, of course, is okay, well, what about the old space, what they call space trash that we put up there? What if that hits something? What happens then? Or meteor, if there's a meteor or a meteor shower, what if that hits? What happens then? I mean,
it would be just like getting a hailstorm in Texas.
That's like crazy. I'm like, okay.
Roofing company, stat.
No idea. But you know what? If they want the elite to work it out, let them work it out, all the kinks. And then when it gets to that point where the rest of us are going to go, okay, they've worked it out. I'm ready to go.
Let's compare this to The Fifth Element. All right. First of all, The Fifth Element.
It's a great movie, by the way. You got to watch it.
He has this tiny apartment, right?
Yeah.
That's all the room there is in the city is for these tiny apartments, right?
And it's up way high.
Yeah. But he goes to Floston Paradise, and you look at the size of his suite. Not the diva suite, just his suite was huge.
Huge.
I'm like,
huge.
It's like 6 of his apartments back in New York City.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of that movie is when the guy pulls up to his window and says, "What you have today? Usual? Okay, I chop it up for you." And that's real.
Uncle Benny. Do you remember where Uncle Benny's from?
Oh no, I forgot about that.
He was in the Lethal Weapon franchise. The same actor was in the Lethal Weapon franchise as a Chinese restaurant owner called Uncle Benny.
That's right. I'd forgotten about that.
So Uncle Benny's still around in 2023 or 3023. Uncle Benny's still around. All right, and he just comes around in a little sky thing to make you.
I just thought, wow, that's really resourceful, and if they can pull it off, which I'm sure they will, it'll be interesting to watch and see how it's going. Just like, I mean, we all watched the what was it, SpaceX and I can't remember what they're all called, and people just mutilated poor Bezos because of the shape of his ship. And the color was like, really, dude? You couldn't come up with a better shape.
But that's like the remember the Austin Powers with the rocket, and they went through a series of everybody explaining it, but not quite
getting it.
Yeah, it was so hilarious.
It's like no, it's like I don't know, but I just thought, wow, that's a concept. I mean, would you, in reality, would you take a trip up there and stay in space?
No.
Why? Why not? It's a new adventure.
I don't want to travel to Europe or anything right now. You think I'm going to take a trip to space? Europe's too far for me. Hawaii is too far for me. But you think I'm going to get in something to go to space?
Yeah. I don't know.
Although I do have a few X's I'd like to ship there.
But what was interesting that we're talking about too is everybody's talking about gravity and that type of thing. And they have certain areas that are less gravity and more gravity, so that it doesn't cause issues on the body, so that when you come back you don't have any issues, because they say when you're up there in the gravity, things tend to move around inside. When you come back down, they kind of move in different directions, and sometimes they have to go through physicals to make sure that nothing has changed. So I mean, I don't know, but they were talking about how the gravity would take place and you wouldn't be totally no gravity. They would set it up so that you would still have gravity and you'd still be able to walk and not, flying in the air, but they'd also have areas that were kind of a little bit of both. So
okay.
I don't know. I just thought, wow, this is crazy. And we have a resource today that I wanted to share. It's corpnet.com. And the thing is I know a lot of people that are entrepreneurs start off as solopreneurs. Mm-hmm. And financially, it makes sense at the time. But as you go down the road, and this is something that they have education on to find out whether you should be an LLC or an S Corp. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the taxes as well as liabilities, and helping your business so that if something happens, they can't take everything, like your home and so forth, if you're a solopreneur. So it protects you as a business owner, and it's a great resource to go on, and they'll help you set that up, whether you decide to be an LLC or S Corp or whatever the case may be. They help you, take you along that route, educate you, and say, okay, we're going to help you with this, and they do the whole filing for you, so you don't even have to do anything. So that's a great resource to have.
Cool. So, yeah, and I know, like I have Joe file mine on my accountant, but I know they have a corporation there that'll do it. And I've filed both of my LLCs. I filed myself. So
yeah,
I have the knowledge.
You can do it yourself,
huh?
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to do it. You can do it.
There is ways to do it yourself, just like you can file your own trademark. But like I hired what's his name to do my trademark because he knew the system better. All right.
Yeah.
And it was a shorter time frame for him to do it.
Yeah. And plus, if you miss anything, or if there's certain things that you miss along the way, can cause you problems down the road. So you always want to do this the right way, so that later down the road, when tax time comes along, you're not hit with this. Oh, by the way, you forgot to file this one piece, so now you're going to owe us this much money. Like,
yeah.
What? Yeah. So it's always best to go to the experts.
Exactly. All right. Why why companies like this are out there, and there was other companies out there that did it. All right. And I know the lady who's in part of CorpNet. Yeah. It was, oh gosh, what's her name? I know her.
Allie.
Huh?
Allie. Nellie.
Nellie
I can't remember her last name, but Nellie.
Nellie Acop, I think. I think I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Yeah, Nellie.
Oh, I'm actually going to search and see.
She used to be, I mean, both her and her husband are lawyers. And so they pulled this company together because they realized this is a huge, they actually, believe it or not, pulled LegalZoom together to start with. And then LegalZoom got bought out, and then they started CorpNet.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. I think that's their story. And Nellie Acop. Yeah, I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's
funny
really.
How many people I'm friends with on Facebook that like I really don't know personally. We're friends on out. Yeah.
Well, she came to our Women Network and she talked about S corps, LLCs, and how to decide and getting those set up as business owners and that type of thing. And it's very educational, and it's something if you're an entrepreneur and you're just a solopreneur right now, it's something you really need to check into because, like I said, with tax-wise, you get creamed in regards to taxes if you don't.
Yeah, and now more than ever, you're going to need to get your taxes in order. So anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree.
So
it's a great resource to check into. That's corpnet.com.
Yep. So I actually didn't put that in the thing to put up there. Oh well. Anyway. Well, let's end our broadcast here for the day. Why don't you tell everybody a website for you?
My website is KG Website Designs, and we help you set up your online ATM, which is your website. It should be working for you, not against you.
Yeah, it should. So speaking of new websites working for you, not against you, have you seen my new website, timgillette.com?
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, new website went up on May 1st.
Yeah. And we're still working on I'm still working on in my copious free time.
Still working on this one?
Yep, we're going to have it up soon. I mean, the majority of it's done. We just have a few tweaks to do, and then it's ready to go.
I think it points to a back page on mine right now.
Yeah, so we're working on it. And as always, we like everyone. We really cherish those who watch us. And thank you for joining us, and hope that you always come back. We always have interesting topics. And the topic we were going to talk about.
I'm not going there.
Not going there.
Not going there. Well, hold on. I'm actually gonna do this because I want to show you. I'm gonna show you on screen. So.
Oh
yeah.
What are you gonna show? I'm very afraid.
Hold on.
Very, very, very afraid.
Don't be afraid. No, it's just I'm gonna show you on the website because of the fact that what I have up right now.
Oh.
All right, so this is the new website. I'm sorry, I have a pop-up when you know that, but like the one thing on my new website is
nice.
I have a podcast link. When you click the podcast link, it opens up to the podcast pages.
Nice.
I have 3 shows. So, and it shows right now. I'm trying to think of it. If you click the learn more, all right, it's not set up yet, but I got to fix it. It'll click and go to a page on that show.
Got it.
It's not set up yet, but anyway, and then it has my old shows, links to my old shows. But yeah, and that will actually click into the other podcasts.
Nice job, sir. You did a nice job on this.
It's that's what design is. It's coming right off my website. They can coming right off my website. They can find our podcast. I don't know if you're doing it off of yours website too, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on my piece too, so that I can attach them all and so forth. And I have my podcast on my website too. So
cool.
Yay!
All right, well, that's a wrap for another week. I guess I will see you next week.
And happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Hopefully you have a nice day and you enjoy and don't drink too much.
Have a margarita and a taco and enjoy the day.
Yes. Till next time. Ta-ta.
Bye.